So you have been trying to work in the United States for some time now. It's not working out, but you still want a fresh teaching experience. You still want to migrate to another country and perhaps earn a little bit more than what you're currently earning in your own country. Look no further. England is here. What's up, YouTube? You know it's your girl Malika, aka Mali, aka Malibu. Whatever you want to call me, you don't know that this is me, and this is malikasflex. So as you would have seen in my thumbnail and also in the title of this video, England is actually offering teachers that are teachers of the high subject demand areas, they're offering £10,000 in a relocation package. Woohoo! All right, now let me give you the details. First of all, this £10,000 is not associated to a particular company. If you watched one of my previous videos, you would see some of the companies or agencies that you can use to find a teaching job in the US. This money is not associated with an agency or a company. It's associated with the government. The government is seeing it fit to encourage or attract teachers to the UK by giving them this relocation package. Now, what are the subjects that are in high demand? Of course, we have the math, science, modern foreign languages such as Spanish and French. And if I am missing anything, I'll be sure to put it right here on the screen. All right. Now, how does this relocation package work? They're not going to give you the money before you get to England. Come on. They don't want to give you the money and then you don't arrive. It's teach the people the money. They don't trust y'all like that. Anyway, so what you will have to do, you will have to pay all the fees that are associated with you migrating or relocating to that particular country, and they will reimburse you after you have taught in the country for about 2 months to a semester. Okay, so what are the costs related to migrating to England specifically? Now, different companies or different agencies have different fees. Unlike the US agencies, which I've spoken about many times, that most of them do not require for you to pay anything. These companies require that you pay, I think it's a visa fee for both you and your dependents, and they require that you pay something called a health surcharge. Now, the visa fee for some companies is between $650 to maybe $800. It depends on the company that you decide to go with. And based on what I've seen thus far, the health surcharge is about $1,000. This does not cover you and your entire family. This would be the charge, more or less, for each dependent and yourself. So let's say, y'all know, I live with my husband. So let's say I am relocating with my husband. For me, let's say it would be around $2,000, more or less. And when I say dollars, I'm really talking pounds. Sorry, I'm speaking in pounds, not dollars, not US dollars, right? And so my husband's fees would be similar, and so it would end up being $4,000 for both of us. Now, this relocation package would not include your spouse or your children. All right, they are sponsoring you, not your spouse and your children. But I feel, this is just my opinion, you can take it, you can leave it. You can feel free to rebut what I'm saying in the comment section, respectfully, of course. So I feel that a £10,000 relocation package is quite reasonable, because if you think about it, I don't know for the people who have kids and all of that, but speaking with my, you guys know I like to use myself in examples, right? Let's say myself and my husband are relocating. My husband, as you all know, is a teacher. He's a primary school educator or elementary educator. He would not be eligible for that bonus. Quite frankly, based on what I've seen with these England companies, they actually do not have a lot of space for primary school educators. Some of them do, they'll have it on their website, but there aren't many positions available because according to them, it's not one of those subjects that are in high demand. Now, I know that I previously listed some of the subject areas in high demand. It doesn't mean that you, if you are teaching something else, cannot still apply, because chances are you'll still, they'll find a job for you but it's just that you would not be eligible for that relocation bonus. So back to the example that I am giving. So in terms of the £10,000, I feel like it's reasonable because if I migrate, you all know that I am a Spanish and French educator, right? So whether I'm hired for Spanish or French, I personally prefer to teach Spanish over French, but okay. If I am hired for one of those subjects and I qualify, well, obviously I would qualify for the relocation package. If I get that £10,000, let's say, because we wouldn't share, like we're not people who like to share apartments. And I noticed that it's been a theme amongst people who migrate to England, like for the first year or so, they kind of share to cut costs on rent. But then my husband and I, no, we're not going to do that. So let's say we get an apartment for £1,500, right? £1,500 to £2,000. Based on what I have gathered, in some areas, instead of paying 1 month's rent as a deposit, some people want you to pay 2 months rent, 3 months rent. Let's say we pay 2 months rent as a deposit. So that would be the rent, $2,000. An additional 2 months rent would bring everything up to $6,000. Then the health surcharge and also the visa charge, that would be $4,000 for us both together, and then that would bring us to the 10,000. When I said dollars, guys, pounds, okay? That would bring us to the 10,000 pounds, and then we would still have to consider the airfare. Between both of us, that would probably be an additional 4,000 pounds, like 2,000 for my plane fare, 2,000 for my husband's plane fare, and then that would bring us perhaps 4,000 over the relocation package. But considering that they're really sponsoring me as the teacher that they're hiring, I think the 10,000 is okay, because they didn't tell me to go and have a spouse, they didn't tell me to have children or whatever. They are just thinking about the person who will be working for them. They're rewarding you, not you and your family, okay? Now, if I'm spending $4,000 over what I'll be receiving, I think that is decent. I honestly think that is decent, because you have to look at it that other teachers who are not a part of that that relocation bonus, who are not eligible for that bonus, they're just spending all that money in the first place and not getting a thing back. Now, if you have a spouse, you wouldn't just be covering everything for your spouse. You know, your spouse work as well. You know, hopefully he's able to sponsor himself coming up. But thinking on the level of a household, you can see where you're getting back £10,000 for the household, because of course sacrifices would be made on my part, sacrifices would be made on my husband's part. However y'all want to work it out, I think it's a decent package. I wish I had a relocation package coming into the US. Did I get it? No. So yeah, so those are the costs that you have to bear in mind when relocating. Tell me in the comment section, do you think that this is a decent relocation package or no? Now, I know that there will be someone who will ask this question: how much do they pay teachers in the UK, in England particularly? No, this information that I'm about to give you, I'm speaking based on just a few things that I've researched, and also from my friends who are currently there teaching, and the guidance that they have given to me. Now, one thing that I've always said, or that I've been saying, especially since living in the US, sometimes we're very private people, and that is to our detriment. So we don't want anybody to know that we're migrating, even though you perhaps have friends in whatever country that you're trying to migrate to, and they could give you some information, some advice, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that they did. And that's why I have this channel too, because I like to tell you guys some of the mistakes that I think I made coming into the US that I should have, perhaps could have done better with, while relocating, right? So based on the information, so there's like the outer London pay scale, the whatever, different pay scales, right? Similar to how we have school districts in the US and each district has their pay scale, it's something similar. Now, unlike the US, where your salary is your salary based on your years of verifiable experience and also your qualifications, and that's your salary, in England you can actually negotiate your salary. Now, what my friends have told me is that they're kind of unfair with international teachers. So if you are deciding to go to England, I am urging you to make an informed decisions. Don't be too jumpy. Maybe they tell you, oh, we're going to pay you £29,000 per year. And because it's more than what you earn in your country, you're like, okay, period. I'm going to jump onto this. But that is not a good salary living in England. I'm always telling you guys, even when I do my videos on the United States, that you have to compare what you'll be paying for rent, utilities, everything. You have to take all those into consideration and divide up your salary and see if you'll be able to save a penny, right? So what I have been told by my friends is that because they know, one, as international teachers, we really don't understand, they're going to tell us that, oh, you need QTS, qualified teacher status, before we can pay you on the main scale. So they have the main scale, you have to have they have the upper pay scale or something like that. They have for teacher leaders, and they have the unqualified teacher status. They try to put international teachers on the unqualified teacher scale because they're like, oh, you don't have QTS. No, I don't know how it works for Africans, because I know that many Africans relocate to the UK, to England specifically, and I don't know how certification is in Africa. But in Jamaica, for Jamaicans, you know, on their qualified teacher status application, they actually ask you for a statement of professional standing. Now, if you are like me, where I have not been in the Jamaican classroom for a while, obtaining that statement of professional standing, it's actually difficult to get from Jamaica. Because it's kind of like you have to currently be in the Jamaican system working for about a year or two, sign up for your teaching license. Because guys, this teaching license thing has never been like something for real in Jamaica. They've been pushing it in more recent years, and I kind of think that the way it's set up, it's kind of unfair for Jamaicans who are no longer teaching in Jamaica, but we need documentation from Jamaica. That's a whole other thing to discuss, right? So for us, it's kind of difficult to get that statement of professional standing, and that is one of the major things to get your QTS. Now, if you are someone who is under the category of teachers or subject teachers who are in high demand, it may be a little bit easier for you to get QTS, qualified teacher status, but you still cannot progress without that statement of professional standing. In editing this video, I realized that I didn't mention that those who are not teaching in a highly demand area or high demand area, you getting a qualified teacher status will take a longer period of time. You will have to go through this whole evaluation system. It can take a whole year, and it's extremely expensive. So that's another down to that QTS if you're not teaching a subject in high demand. So someone is hiring you and they're gonna ask you, hey, do you have qualified teacher status? Heck no, I do not. Okay, but you need to apply for it and try to obtain it within 6 months. That's the only way we can promise you a salary on the main scale. Oh, but y'all said you are in need of my subject area. So guess what? I'm going to negotiate my salary, and I'm going to say, listen, I have a master's degree. I have experience both in my country and both abroad. So I'm going to sell myself and be like, listen, I've taught in the US. I am aware of some of the behaviors of some students. And I am also aware that some of these behaviors are present in England, right? And I'm going to sell myself and show them that, listen, I am deserving of more than an unqualified teacher pay scale. My friends have told me, try not to accept anything under M4. Now, I don't know fully what these things mean, but just know that my friends said, do not accept anything under M4. Even if you're someone who is not in a subject area that's in high demand, because they said that it doesn't make sense if you are under a certain level. You guys, you know that song, you gonna suffer, yeah, you're gonna suffer, sweetheart. And in the name of I want to migrate, I want to go to a different country, it makes no sense that you are suffering. As much as I'm an advocate for leaving your country, seeing what's out there in the world, get new experiences, it makes no sense if you do that and you're gonna suffer. Somebody tell me if that makes sense. Somebody let me know if I'm making sense to you. Sometimes, in my opinion, it's best to stay in your own country than to move to somebody else's country to suffer. And that's why when I was a new graduate from Sherwood with my undergrad, and I was given the opportunity to migrate to Colombia, while the experience would have been good, given that I'm a teacher of Spanish, I would have, you know, sharpened my Spanish skills and all that. I told my I told, you know, my lecturers and also my, not my classmates, but those who are above me, that listen, I'm not, when I calculate what y'all said you're getting with what I'm going to be getting in Jamaica, it's going to be more or less the same. So if I have to suffer, let me suffer in my own country. I'm not going anywhere else to suffer, okay? So that's just my opinion. That's my stance. Once again, if you disagree with something that I am saying, feel free to put it in the comment section and we can talk about it respectfully. Gotta be strong on the respectfully, you know, like I love a good conversation. We can agree to disagree, but yeah, respectfully, you know. So put your thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember guys, do not accept anything under M4. If you are living in the suburbs where maybe rent is not as high in the city areas, then perhaps you can decide it. Remember, you have to look at everything against everything, right? The cost of living versus what you're getting for pay. Like really and seriously sit down and think about it. Remember that whenever you're migrating, as much preparation as we can do, sometimes there are some hidden fees that we never thought about and you end up short. Now, a benefit of living in England is that surcharge that I spoke about before, that health surcharge. It would cover you for the year. Some companies let you pay for it for 3 years if you want to do that, or you can just pay for it for the year. The previous quotes that I gave you, both for the visas and the healthcare, those are just for 1 year. Once again, some companies will encourage you to pay for 3 years, because if you only pay for 1 year, then of course every year you'll have to go through that whole process again of you know, just repaying those monies and all of that. So that's up to you. Yeah, so let me see if I'm missing anything. Right, I also forgot to say that another benefit of living and working in the UK as a teacher is that you do not have to pay taxes for the first 2 years. So if you are somebody who is actually trying to work in the US as opposed to the UK, you know, 2 years in the UK, you can do that and then try to migrate into the US if that's your dream. But that's definitely a benefit. First 2 years tax free. You don't have to pay pension. You can, for some schools or whatever, you can tell them that you don't want to pay pension, especially if you're going to stay there for a short period of time. Like, why are we paying pension? Why are we paying pension? Yeah, that's another benefit. Right, as I was saying. If you're new to my channel, my brain goes in and out and I always forget what I'm trying to say, okay? Right, I was mentioning the health surcharge, saying that a benefit of living in England is that money that you pay for the health, it actually covers for the year or the 3 years, whatever amount of time that you paid for. I asked people, I was like, you know, what if I got pregnant and I need to give birth in this country? Will that still cover that? They're like, yup, you pay £0. If you go to the doctor, you don't pay anything. Like, it's zero, nada. You pay nothing. I really like that, because in the US you pay for insurance, and when you go to the doctor you still pay a lot of money. It's like, it's crazy. I can at least say that in Jamaica, even though we pay for insurance as government workers, I can't speak to those who pay for insurance privately, because I know that the amount that people pay privately for insurance is way more than people pay through a government entity. But whenever we do pay our insurance in Jamaica, when you go to the doctor, in my opinion, a good amount, I think 80% of your bill is covered through the insurance. I really like that. I really do. Anyway, guys, let me stop rambling. If you learned something from what I said today in this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you have questions, feel free to ask them below. Now, I'm not an England guru, but I can try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. And overall, you know, at the end of every video, I always ask you to hashtag something in the comment section. So that will let me know that you actually listen to the end. And I really appreciate that. So I'm going to ask you to hashtag in the comment section, teach in England. Once again, hashtag in the comment section, teach in England. That will make me feel so good to know that you took the time out to listen to the entire video. I do not take it for granted. So guys, once again, it's your girl Malika, aka Mali, aka Malibu, saying